I'm Tiffany. I live in a small university town with my husband and our two standard poodles. And our poodles are smart, sometimes too smart, and quirky, and just full of personality. And today I kind of wanted to talk about what most people don't know about poodles. I've had poodles for 2 years now. Roscoe's going to turn 2 next month. And our other poodle, Link, just turned 1 a few months ago. And so we did a lot of research before getting poodles. We knew people who had poodles already. We spent time learning about the breed and their personality and all of that kind of stuff. But no matter how much you learn or think you know, it's always different when you get them. And I wanted to share my experience for anybody who's maybe looking to get a poodle or thinking about a poodle or a doodle or they don't know what to get. So I just want to share my experience. So grab a cup of coffee, a water, something like that, and let's sit down and chat about it. I also just want to share a little bit about poodles because I think they're pretty misunderstood dogs, and I want to shed some light on that and kind of just share my experience. Poodles are insanely intelligent and they're absolutely full of personality. Poodles are the second smartest dog breed, right behind Border Collies, and it really shows. We've been able to teach our dogs fun tricks like sitting up on their hinds or spinning in a circle or taking a bow, but we've also kind of taught them practical tricks like cleaning up toys or opening and shutting some sort of cabinet. You can see the light bulb kind of going off in their head. These are really useful, but they're not only fun, they also just provide a lot of mental stimulation for the dog and kind of wears them out. I said that poodles are full of personality, and they really are, and every single poodle is different. Our older poodle, Roscoe's personality is a lot more laid back. He's a lot more affectionate. He's much more eager to please. Our younger dog is a little more dainty. He's also super eager to please, don't get me wrong. A high prey drive. He likes to chase birds or rabbits or squirrels or plastic bags flying across the road. Poodles are highly intuitive animals. They can sense your moods, and sometimes I say that they display emotions just like humans, which of course is not possible, but sometimes it feels that way. But they treat their human family like a pack. Our dogs are really loyal, and they're actually pretty protective too. They're super friendly, really good family dogs. Our dogs are great with kids, but they also have some situational awareness where if some sort of strange person is walking up to us, they can kind of sense like, oh, that person kind of has a weird vibe going on, or ooh, that person looks really friendly. You look happy to see them? I'm happy to see them. And so they're really interesting like that. In addition to physical exercise, it's important to give them mental stimulation as well. Puzzle toys, short training sessions, hide and seek, interactive play. But I think that can all sound really daunting. And so how do we manage that with such a busy schedule? My husband and I both work full-time jobs. And so we do a lot of freezer prep lick mats and Kongs. Dogs really like bully sticks, and those keep them busy for an hour. You can build these things into your daily routine and it doesn't have to feel daunting. The second thing, and I think arguably one of the most misunderstood things about poodles, is that grooming isn't just to be fancy, but it's also essential for their health. So you see like those fancy poodle cuts, you know, with the big hair and their chest, but then they're shaved, and then they have like the little balls on their feet and on their tail. And so that was actually cut like that for a reason. It was to keep all of their vital organs warm when they're hunting in the water. The areas where their vital organs were not were shaved in order to give them ease of swimming in and out of the water and through the water. And so that's really interesting. That's where those fancy poodle cuts that you always see come from. As you can see, our dogs are not cut like that, but our dogs are just family dogs. They're just here for fun. And so we do kind of like a short sport cut. We just kind of shave their faces to keep them clean, and the rest of the body's pretty doodly, if you will. Poodles actually have a puppy coat that is different than their adult coat, and around, I would say, between like 7-8 months to 2 years. It's different for every poodle. They go through their coat change. Poodles have lots of different coats, and one reason we chose poodles was because they were hyperallergenic and I'm allergic to dogs. We knew that poodles would be fine because my in-laws have 2 poodles, and I was totally fine around their dogs. And if you're considering getting standard poodles because they're hypoallergenic, I would suggest finding somebody or a breeder or someone like that who will let you come hang out with their standard poodles. And I would suggest finding someone who has adult standard poodles or have gone through their coat change like I talked about. Because like I said, puppy coats are different. And I actually did have a minor reaction to both of our dogs when they had their puppy coats, rather than their adult coats. Not 100% sure why, but I did. I think that maybe the dander is a little bit different that they produce. And so that's just something to note and something interesting. Once they've gone through their coat change, I have had no problems, but everybody's different. Every dog is different. So definitely think about that before getting these dogs. Great thing though is that they do not shed at all. They shed like I would shed, you know, when I brush my hair, a little bit of hair comes out. That's how they shed. I never have dog hair on my clothes or my furniture or anything like that. And it's great. That's one of, I would say, the best things about this dog breed specifically. We have found some tips, especially getting through that puppy phase when I was managing like my allergies with these dogs. There's a product online, I think it's called All Pet or something like that. I will link it, but that product was super great. It's supposed to help reduce dander, and so if you have someone in your home allergic to dogs, or like a friend and you frequent over there or something like that and they're willing, I would totally suggest this product. You just put a little on your hands and then rub it all over your dog's coat, dry, and you just do it every day. And it helps just keep the dander at bay for dogs. And I'm sure you could use it on all dogs. And I know they also have one for cats. Something I didn't consider before getting dogs is that they're dogs. They go outside and they roll in the grass and they dig holes and they just get things on them. And then they bring in all those allergens to the inside. And so they are hypoallergenic, but there are things to consider. The brushing also will just help get out all of that outside dander that your dogs have kind of got caught in their coat, especially because their hair is so curly. They do get stuff in their coat. The third thing that people don't really realize, I think, about standard poodles is that they're super athletic. If you've ever watched dogs do agility or in dog shows, this breed is so athletic. We have gone through a couple of agility courses at our local training facility with our dogs, which has been super fun. They're always wanting to run. They love to swim, probably because they were bred to be water dogs. I mean, they love to play, and we really try to help them lean into their athletic side because it's good for them. It's good for them mentally and physically, which we've talked about. One kind of caveat to that is you want to make sure that you're helping them lean into their athletic side safely. And so what do I mean by that? One thing that we've done is make sure our dog's growth plates have closed before we do anything crazy. So any like high jumping or running long distances or things like that. Our oldest dog's growth plates closed around 1 year and 8 months. Our other dog's growth plates, I'm not sure where they're at because he hasn't had an x-ray, but I do not think they've closed yet because he's not done growing. And so we will limit him a little bit more on like what kind of, like how high you can jump, how long you can run, just because we want to make sure to protect their joints and their bones, and their health comes first. These dogs thrive on routine and structure. I have noticed a huge difference between the days that we have a routine set and we follow it versus the days that are more loosey-goosey, just in how much they listen, how much they comprehend, how willing they are to listen to commands, how eager to please they are. And so we follow like a pretty, I'd say like a fairly strict routine with them. Our dogs are crate trained, and we do exercise that, especially when we're not at home. And so our dogs sleep in their crates, typically, not always, but most of the time our dogs sleep in their crates. While we're at work during the day, they're usually in their crates, and my husband or I will come out at lunch to kind of take a break with them, to let them out of their crates, and then they always end up napping anyway, but that's okay. And then after lunch, they usually go back in their crates for a couple hours until we're done with work. After work, and you know, we go on our walks, we do dinner, we do training sessions, we play, and we do all the things, and those are built in throughout the day. But the big setter in their schedule is if they're napping in their crates or not. On days that they are in their crates, like the weekends or when we're working from home or things like that, on walks, they're a lot less attentive to us. They're a lot more almost like overstimulated. They're less willing to listen. And so these dogs are smart and they thrive on routine. And these dogs notice when, you know, we work late or we go into work later or our lunch is at a different time or when my husband works out of town or when I'm out of town for a couple days. Like, the dogs pick up on those things and notice, and they just do better when they're on a routine schedule. And I think it can be difficult to maintain structure with just when you're so busy and you have so much going on. I mean, we work jobs, we try to have social lives. You can't keep a perfect routine all of the time. Here's how we keep a good routine. Even if we're home on the weekends, we try to still get them in their crate time, at least a few hours here or there, just so they have time to settle and nap. I think this is pretty, standard throughout the whole poodle community, and with all poodles, they don't want to miss out on anything. Like, our dogs totally get FOMO. And so that's why crate training them has been so awesome, because then they have time to nap. They know, okay, we're in our crates, we're just gonna take a nap, no big deal. Whereas if they're not in their crates and I get up out of this room and leave, they will follow me. Here, I'll show you. So there you go. And so they're just not able to get the sleep that they need if we're around the house constantly moving in and out of rooms. And so that's one reason and one way we keep their routine. Another good way to keep the routine is feeding them at certain times. We don't free feed our dogs. We make sure that they have set meal times, and they do really well with that kind of thing. And so we make sure that we feed them usually around 7 a.m. in the mornings and around 6 p.m. at night. Like I said earlier, we try to get in one walk a day, or I mean more than one, but I think that helps keep them on a routine too of, we're getting out of the house, we're going on a walk at some point, and that's good. These dogs have very human-like features, and I would almost go as far as saying human-like habits, which you may have heard before, especially around anything mixed with a standard poodle, and I do think it definitely comes from the poodle side. With food preferences, just like you and I like cucumbers but hate Brussels sprouts or whatever our food preferences are, these dogs also have food preferences. Our older dog really likes cucumbers and broccoli, and honestly, he'll basically eat anything. Our younger dog is a lot more picky, and if you give him a new food, he'll smell it and kind of look at you like you're it's kind of suspicious, even if it's meat or cheese or anything like that. Our dogs have kind of ebbed and flowed with things they like. Our younger dog used to hate carrots. He would shred them up and not eat them, and now he gobbles them up. And so they have food preferences. They also kind of just have quirky behaviors, the way they sit and the way they stretch. They like to lounge in funny positions just like humans. It's just so silly. They also kind of mimic our behavior, and so if we're watching a show and an animal comes on the TV or there's lots of movement or color, our dogs will also kind of sit and stare at the TV for a while, and that's kind of funny. They follow us around and they kind of copy our movements. If I move my hand like this, especially during a training session, they'll kind of pick up and be like, oh, I can move my paw like that. They also just have the best facial expressions, and I think every dog breed has their own little fun quirk facial expressions, but I feel like standard poodles are so expressive. You can definitely tell when they're judging you, when they're contemplating, when they're giving you those eyes. Our one dog grunts a lot, and it's very funny. And they're really expressive with their tails as well. Tail down, tail up, which is pretty standard across dog language, but that's just another thing I've noticed with our dogs specifically. Our dogs also have ritualized behaviors, just like I get up and I immediately want to make my coffee and sit and drink my coffee. And then in the afternoon, I want to make my tea and drink my tea. They also like to do those things. They have their favorite spots, which admittedly for our older dog and our younger dog is starting to too, are their crates. Our dogs love pillows. If you put a pillow on the floor, they will immediately get up from whatever they're doing and go lay on it. They just love pillows. They have their favorite blankets. Our dogs have their favorite toys, and if they're missing their favorite toy, they will look at you and be like, where's my toy? Did you put it in the washer? And our dogs are kind of dramatic. They whine for attention, just like a toddler. If you pet them and they decide that they're not done for you to pet them, they will let you know by nudging you or pawing you to tell you, come on. And honest to goodness, these are learned behaviors that we could have nipped in the bud, and we still could, but we do think it's kind of cute, so we have been enabling it. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, sorry. See what I mean? Yeah. You're a good boy. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay, are we good now? No? How about now? Okay. Owning standard poodles has taught me so much. It's taught me so much about patience and consistency and just the joy of having pets that are just little personalities in fur coats. I've learned a lot from these dogs. I continue to learn a lot from these dogs every single day. And if you're contemplating get one, I would say totally do it. If you have more questions, I would love to answer them. Leave them in the comments. But until next time, thanks for being here.